I'm Kevin Ringstaff from PetCloud. This guy here is Ponce de León. It's in the afternoon, so he's more chill, more malleable, and now he's in my lap. Today, I'm super excited because, I'm always looking for new and unique ways to memorialize and honor our pets. And I was super excited when I met our guest today. Um, and she was talking all about like different ways that we can like hold on and then let go of like the memories of the pets that we have. So I'm super excited today to introduce Emily Piccirillo from RemembeRing. She's the founder and CPL of RemembeRing, CPL, Chief Pet Lover. I love it. You might try to copy something like that. But like, thank you so much, Emily, and welcome.
I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. So I was excited to remember or to learn a little bit about the RemembeRing. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about what it is?
Sure. It's a product, even though it's also an activity. So in a sense, I consider it also a service because it's unlike most memorial products, which have like a very sort of fixed quality about them. This is something that the value is derived from what you do with it. It
Mhm.
actually, it's the meaning you ascribe to it. So you get a tribute kit essentially when you receive one of these or order one of them. And the remembering is this part of it. This is just the backing board. And on the back of the backing board, you get instructions and you also get this sleeve. And the sleeve it turns into essentially what would hold a photo of a pet. You get instructions, you get a magnet, you get a hang tag. I'm actually gonna take it apart so people can see. So you
Yeah, I was gonna show you too. Like here's the one that you sent me too.
yes, you have the stars. Yes.
Hmm. Go on.
Right. So you pop the two parts, pop them apart, and it's the tagline is for holding on and letting go. So it's really, and this is the unique feature of this product because there really is nothing else like it. I mean, most products that have to do with pet loss, it's this part. It's what you hold on to. It's all the different ways that you can preserve your memories and your connection with your pet. But the reality is, when you're grieving, it's that transition, and we're all that ambivalence that we have. We know the end is coming, or it's here, or it just happened. And we have to move with that, and we have to allow for that passage of that loved one. Now, the reality is, they stay with us because grief is love and love is forever,
Hmm.
but physically they're gone. We have to, that's the hard part. They're not going to be sitting on our lap. They're not going to be in bed with us. They're not going to be barking at the door, all the different things that our beloved pets do. So this you turn over and you write the farewell message to your pet on the back of this. And people do all sorts of things with this. So this is for the pet. This is for you. This is for the pet. And so, in fact, what some people, particularly kids, because these are awesome for kids since we have so little to help kids, is that once people put the photo in the sleeve and they put it on the frame, if you're really having a hard time with letting go, some people will actually take this and put it behind the photo.
Hmm.
So even though it's with the pet, it's still with you in a sense. But a lot of folks, they put it with the cremains. If they have the opportunity, and depending on whatever their inclinations in terms of what they're going to do with the pet's remains, they can actually have it cremated with the pet. They can bury it with the pet. They can put it on
Oh,
the grave. Yeah, I mean, it can actually
I
literally,
hadn't thought about like cremating it with them, like
yeah.
sending a message, as they go. That's really nice. I like that.
Yeah, and it's cool too when you think about like you're with your pet's remains. I mean, that
I
message
love that.
it blends in essence, you that connection lasts. Some people bury it with their pet. I've had friends, because I live in Vermont, I've had friends like they'll have a favorite hike that they do, like a trail, And, you know, they will find like a discreet place on the trail and dig a little hole and bury it on the trail so that, you know, their pet's presence, in essence, remains at this location that that pet, you know, that they always shared together. So that's the essence of it. You know, and it's really to help folks grieve. So it's beyond that idea of, you know, there's a lot of memorial products out there,
Yeah.
but this is really about, you know, the hands-on grieving process and how hard it is to like go through it. And you know as well as I do, you know, that pet loss, we're still on this. It's a good trajectory, but we have a lot of progress to make in terms of people truly respecting the fact that our pets are very close loved ones, family members, you know, and so we need more. We need more tools. We need more resources that will help us. I also I want to emphasize the role they have with kids because we, you know, parents often really struggle with how to include children in that end of life experience because it's so intense.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things about this too, is that, you know, it's that hands-on activity. Like it's not just a passive picture frame or something that's engraved, you know, it comes unmade, and what you put into it, that's that love. That's what makes it special.
Yeah.
And just, you know, having that hands-on activity is something that children really love.
Yeah, and you know, historically, a lot of, you know, essentially this is a new mourning tradition. That is really what it's intended as. It's supposed to be like a ritual. And when you think about a lot of the rituals that we associate with death, which is, you know, primarily human loss, you know, friends
Mhm.
and family, um, they have a transformative quality. You know, there's a transition component to them. And I can tell you, like, this originated, even though I'm applying it to pet loss, it originated out of human loss because I'm a former art therapist and grief counselor. And during an interval of my experience with that career, I worked with kids in the AIDS community and I accompanied them to funerals. And I had this one little girl in particular who was so distraught, you know, I struggled with how to get her through the service in a way that would really have like a healing quality and she would be re-traumatized by the fact that her mom had just passed. So I made one of these on the fly. And
Mhm.
it really was about binding her anxiety and helping her really be present. And the family was supportive of the fact that, you know, she was going to now be, you know, kind of actively involved in the service and that, you know, we made it and then we walked up and we put this in the casket with her mom, and it was really profound. So
It's
I was really happy to be able to offer that to her. And you know, I had a photo of her mom, and we made the frame, and I realized, wow, this thing has some really great, good vibe, healing power to it. And so, yeah, that's really where it originated.
wow. Yeah, I was like just about to ask you that. And like from there, from just that desire to help out someone else, like how did it go from there to here? And like how long did that take?
Oh my. Yeah, this idea actually came to me. I think it's now been about 20 years
Hmm.
since I got the original idea. And because I was so involved in being a clinician, I never invested the effort and the energy in creating like a real market, you know, and becoming an entrepreneur. And that I've only been doing for the last 2 years.
Hmm.
One really wonderful thing that happened though is because the team I was on recognized that these things really helped. There was a lawyer that I was working with, and she referred me to a friend of hers who was starting an intellectual properties clinic at
Hmm.
American University, and they were looking for new projects, and they took this on as their first patent project. And we went through 9 years of students cycling through, helping to usher this through the USPTO, Patent and Trademark Office, and you know, multiple rejections for all sorts of reasons, which is fair warning to anybody who thinks about patenting anything because it amazing. Yes, your examiner will reject your idea. I can pretty much assure you of that because they have all sorts. That's their job, basically, to make it as tight as possible. So, anyways, I was able to secure. It was actually it's a dual patent, and that it actually does speak to the fact that it's a physical good. It's a device. This is actually formally called a device, but we combined it. It's a combined patent with the utility of it, or a method patent. So how is this used? So
Yeah.
actually that process really helped me refine the idea and formalize it. And you have to have these technical drawings done and everything. And I really understood. I also learned a little bit about intellectual property, and an importance, like getting a trademark and getting one on the tagline and everything, so that you're really protecting it and
Mm.
structuring it in a way that once people experience it, has a very finished feel to it. But I put it on the shelf, and it really was
Yeah,
almost
it really looks nice, like when it's displayed. So I'd
ah
like to show just a little bit, like this is the one that you sent me here, and like here's what I did with it. Here's a picture of a Blazer, my cat,
yes, it's beautiful. That's great.
and I can show this one too. You see a little heart on there? For those of you who don't know, Blazer, my cat, has a little heart on his face too, a natural birthmark. So that's just like other synergy there,
That's really
right? And on
special.
the back of it, I wrote my little note to him.
Fantastic.
Like this is what we keep, right? And this is what we like let go of.
Yeah, right.
And you were talking earlier too about options and how like everyone does something different, something creative too. And I thought for this one that I could use it as like a memorial candle holder.
Mhm.
So like that's what the bottom of it is, so no one can see my private message. But as it burns down, the wax is going to hold on to it. So
Oh,
that's what it's going to be like. So
lovely. It reminds me of, I mean, candles are such a part of, the traditions around death and dying. And it reminds me of a yard site candle in the Jewish faith, that they light on
yeah.
the anniversary of the loved one's death. And yeah, that's a lovely use. I hadn't seen that before. It's so fun when, folks invent what means something to them. They use this in a way that adds value to them and adds meaning. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other aspect I'd like to share is that, folks are like, okay, you're talking about people, but how did you end up with pets?
Hmm.
One I sort of reference, and that's the fact that we don't have enough meaningful mourning traditions around pet loss, particularly ones that cross faith and ages and cultures. And I really wanted to make sure this could have universal appeal, because I wouldn't want anybody to feel left out. And
Hmm.
it's good for anybody of any age, down to 3 years old, because it does have a couple little small parts which a child could potentially chew on, I guess. They're not in danger, but you're just being careful with little ones. Um, so there's that, but there's also one of the things that I realized when I was a clinician was that because I did a lot of grief work with folks that were losing family members, I was struck by the frequency with which folks would be in the midst of their active grieving process about a person, and they often would kind of flip almost when they were really experiencing the loss to talking about pet loss from their childhood. And
Hmm.
there's the frequency with which that happened really struck me, and I realized there's all this unresolved grief, or just unattended grief, that in part because parents don't know what to do. And often kids would go to school and they would come home and the dog was gone. And, the parents would feel terrible, but that was their best solution.
I was talking with someone who held on to that for 50 years. Not an exact 50 years ago. She's still holding on to that, and she's in her 70s now.
I believe it, because as you know, I mean, love it essentially kind of occurs outside of time. I
Yeah.
mean, we do live in this, kind of linear progression of time, but love has its own dimension to it. And, when people tap into that and the grief that goes with it, it's very real and very present. I was astonished by the frequency with which folks were really feeling just they would blend the grief, and I realized, yeah, this we still have needs that are not being addressed here. We need more supports culturally. Yeah.
I love this product. And, you
Yeah.
know, Emily, thank you so much for coming on and just making this and for, everything that you do.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, we're all lifting people up,
Right.
around this very challenging, very real, very common, I mean, we have so many pets in our lives. I mean, we need to learn, and we need the supports. And how do you grieve well? And I really
Mhm.
hope that this can be a resource for people to, help them heal and ease that heartbreak that is inevitable when we have to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have your contact information on the screen following this. So anyone, please reach, or we're also going to be like offering the RemembeRing through our website too. So like every purchase here helps Emily out and really helps all of us out in this whole community of just supporting and bringing this idea of support to anyone who needs it, really.
Thank you. It is wonderful to collaborate with you on it,
Yeah,
because you're providing your own wonderful services, and it's great that, we can enhance each other's
yeah.
our, our gifts to the community.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, we were joined today by Emily Piccirillo, the CPL, the Chief Pet Lover of RemembeRing. That's rememberring.pet.pet. Just like PetCloud too, us .pet domains got to stick together.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a
And
small number of us, but we're growing.
mhm. Well, everyone, I'd like to remind you that if any of you need support, we're only a phone call or a click away. Please come join us in one of our grief support groups. We have them free every single Sunday. And just to remember that you're not alone in all of this grief. And again, Kevin Ringstaff and Ponce de Leon, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Kevin. Take care.
Oh, if anyone knows, if you would like to be a guest on this show, or if you have a good idea for a topic, please write or message us and let us know. And we'd be happy to have you on.